Welcome in everybody to the 5th episode of Bulletin Sports Talk, which can now be found on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. I'm your host, Brian Rathbone with The Bulletin, and today we have two interviews set up with Mountain View's Jakoby and Bend High's Alexander Emery on finding ways to improve on football and play football in a state where football really isn't being played right now. First up, Jakoby. Joined here with Jakoby, junior quarterback at Mountain View. Chatting a little bit about football, a little bit about his 7-on-7 kind of ride that he's on right now, and some growth as a football player. Jakoby, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, 7-on-7 football is kind of one of the few things that can be done in Oregon. How's that kind of been the last basically as it's been going since summer? How's that kind of been?
It started ramping up around the end of the summer and continued to ramp up as the closer we, felt that the season may not happen. Going to tournaments planned in the future, just getting bigger and bigger. It's been pretty helpful for me to grow as a quarterback. My knowledge of the game has grown. My mechanics have improved. All of that side of it, as well as the recruiting and being able to get some tape for coaches and just kind of that aspect of the game as well.
Mm-hmm. So is this kind of your first year doing this, or is this something you've done in the past?
I played for eForce last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made the change to MVP this year. It's been more serious this year for sure than it was last year, but I got to get the feel of things last year.
Mm-hmm. You say it's a little more serious. How is it more serious than maybe years past? Does it just has to do with this is kind of the only football it can do, or is it because you're older? What's kind of goes into making it maybe a little more serious?
Yeah, it's been more like the focus topic. Playing lacrosse last year, juggling lacrosse and 7-on-7, as well as being a sophomore, it wasn't as important that year. And now being a junior and maybe not having a chance to get to play a junior year, get to play real tackle football this season, it's became my number one. 7-on-7 is every weekend. I'm trying to get all the exposure I can, where last year it was just to improve, and now it seems like this year it's turned into a main focus for a lot of these kids.
Mm-hmm. So when you go to these tournaments, what are they kind of like? How many teams are there? How many games you guys getting in? What's kind of the rundown for these tournaments?
An average tournament would be usually 3 games Saturday, pool play, just you're in your bracket, you're in your side, and it seeds you for Sunday, and then Sunday is usually knockout. You lose, you're done. You win, you continue, and there's usually a good amount of teams. We were up in Yakima this last weekend, and there were I believe 28 teams.
Okay.
And so that's quite a bit of teams to be at one tournament together. And the bigger the tournament, you could get up closer to 50 teams, or a smaller tournament with 12 teams. Everything varies, but an average I'd say is around 20-ish teams.
Mm-hmm. What's kind of the competition level like? You getting I know 7-on-7's been a kind of a booming industry recently,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much everyone that with aspirations of playing college football, they're playing this. What's kind of the competition level like that you're facing?
Yeah, it's different from Central Oregon, that's for sure. The size is probably the first thing you notice walking in to these tournaments. Is you see 6'5", you see 6'6", all those D1 NFL type bodies. They're there, and these kids work. These kids are devoted. These kids are their lives, where Central Oregon football isn't taken as seriously, where you go to these more populated cities, Portland, Seattle, those type of things. Football is king there, and all these kids eat, sleep, train football, and the competition is just it's uncomparable from Central Oregon.
Yeah, I hear these tournaments are pretty intense. Is that pretty accurate?
Very, fights breaking out, coaches yelling at each other, refs. It's very similar to AAU basketball. You can watch YouTube videos on AAU basketball, and it's the same thing here. A lot of trash talking. It's the best of the best going against each other, and when kids are so competitive, it's bound to happen. You can't stop two alphas from trying to back down. It just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, football, it's definitely a bravado sport. Are you much of a trash talker?
Last year I wasn't, as a sophomore. It just didn't seem my place. But now, as I get more comfortable, I definitely don't trash talk, but I could hold my ground.
Yeah, see, I'd imagine, the nice thing with, 7-on-7 is you don't have, rushing you, coming after you to take your head off. That, in 11-on-11, in a full contact, you kind of have to, temper emotions a little bit. So, those guys don't have any more motivation to come after you. Go ahead.
I stay very calm and collected on the field. That's something I make sure I am. The quarterback, you're leading the team, and I take that very seriously, that I need to be the one to, if my linemen or my wide receivers get into something, I'm going to be the guy to, calm them down. And so that's, as a quarterback, that's our biggest job, is to lead the team and, stay out of the trash talk or the dirty play. We play the game, we control our teams, and that's how we play.
So besides kind of like those obvious, obviously there's no linemen, there's not a running game, it's not tackle football, which are obviously very big differences. How is 7-7 on different? How is 7-on-7 different from full contact from a quarterback's perspective?
A big way I play the game is I like to make plays. I like to scramble around. I like to break a tackle and make a play with my legs, which then can build on making plays downfield. Where with 7-on-7, it's very mental. You need to know your reads. You need to be able to read the defense. You're not available, or you can't make plays as much. So the mental aspect of it has helped me a ton, as instead of just making a play, finding the open guy in 7-on-7, you know where you need to go, who you need to read, all that kind of stuff. So that's big from the quarterback side of things. And it's still very physical from the wide receiver and cornerback or, defensive back aspect. But, like I said, you can't really compare it to the real game. It's not the same to me.
Is that something that's, kind of transferable, that you can kind of take into, the full contact game, being able to kind of, diagnose, things before they kind of happen, or at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah. At Mountain View, we were a pretty run heavy team. And that draws a lot of one or zero coverage, as you call it. So one high safety, and 7-on-7, you're not going to see a lot of one high, zero coverage, just because there's no run aspect in it. So learning the different defenses, as well as, the concepts we can run on offense, it's a pretty big difference from, and it's helped me a lot from, the regular football that, if you're going to run the ball a bunch, you're going to draw that one high safety. And in 7-on-7, it's just different.
What's your favorite route to throw?
Definitely a deep post.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I can talk for most quarterbacks. That's definitely our favorite route.
Why is that so? Why is that so popular among? I mean, I think I have an idea, but it's better to hear from someone who actually
deep
plays.
ball down the middle. You get to show off your arm strength. If you can drop a post right over the shoulder, and your receiver's fast enough, there's not many people that can stop it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played 1 year of quarterback, and I didn't quite have the arm to do the post. So, like the slants, the outs,
the quick game.
Oh yeah. Quick game screens.
Sure. Yeah.
Screen you to death all day, or just hand the ball off. That's how our team.
There's a place for everyone.
When I was playing
There's
quarterback.
a place for everyone.
So you're coming off your sophomore year at Mountain View, starting, for a team that just missed the playoffs, but you guys were, successful team,
Mm-hmm.
could play. What was kind of that, making that jump from playing, kind of a freshman JV schedule to, playing kind of under the lights for you?
I learned early on, I think, my first game playing varsity, I'd say a very good game for, it being your first game varsity coming from freshman football. And early on, I played well, and a time happened in the end of the game where, final seconds, I throw a touchdown, we win. It's a bad ball or anything, we lose. And I made a very, I'd say, rookie mistake, and I threw a pick across the middle, and that was my, welcome to varsity moment.
Mm-hmm.
You hear welcome to the NFL. That was my welcome to varsity moment, and it clicked from there on. It's just a different game. It's just a different tempo. But as the season went on, things started to slow down, way slower, and I started to get stronger and bigger as the season went on, and it's a big jump, but I believe I was ready, and I believe I showed I was ready.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you just mentioned that kind of first pick. When did things kind of start to slow down for you a little bit to where you can, go out there and
Mm-hmm.
play at a high level?
I'd say like maybe 2 or 3 games in. It was pretty fast at the beginning of the year, but really once I started to figure out the concept of the game, the concepts Coach Crum likes to run, and like why we were running, what we were running, why we're throwing against what coverage, then it starts to really slow down. So about halfway through the season, the game really started to slow down once I started realizing all of those things.
I remember one of the games I was at, I think it was, I can't remember I think it was Sprague. It was that game.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's my first year in Bend covering these teams. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
Mountain View or don't know who Jakoby Moss is.
Yeah.
And I just remember this one play, you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and all of a sudden are diving into the end zone. And I was like, Who is that? And it's like, oh man, that guy's a sophomore.
Yeah, that was for sure.
Like one of your favorite plays of the year?
Definitely my favorite play of the year. You can see it on film. I tell my fullback, I say, he's coming. And I let him know. And, the play was a designed rollout to the left. And that D end or the outside linebacker kind of stopped that from happening. So I came under him, and one of their big linemen decided to wrap me up, and he didn't want to bring me down. And 3 other guys came and hit him, but they all missed me. And I popped out of the pile, and I had remembered watching highlights on YouTube of, big runs, guys diving in the end zone. And I thought that was a time to break it out. The guy was coming, so
I don't blame you. Anytime you can dive into the end
zone, show it off.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, and having my linemen, pick me up after, and it was just a good feeling, to work so hard. Ever since I was a little guy, dreaming to play at Mountain View, and to be running across that line or diving across that line, it was a dream come true.
Yeah, so like I said, sophomore, kind of early in the high school career. Now you're going into a junior year. Now you have kind of you're not one of the youngest players on the team. You're an upperclassman. How are you approaching this year any differently? What's kind of your role now that you're a year older and veteran of the team?
Yeah, last year, the start, I didn't feel as fit to, be the verbal leader of the team. We had a very strong senior class that had been playing for a while. And that was more their fit for, the verbal leader. I believe, and I did lead by example, and I can control the huddle even as a sophomore. But junior year with, guys looking up to you and having played that 1 year, already having that experience. This year, I want to be, and I want to be that leader for the team, and I've tried my best. But it's just a different mindset coming in with that experience. Like I said, that, these guys are looking for you to make a play. These guys are looking for you to, calm us down when things are hot or that kind of thing. So that's where my role comes in. And instead of the sophomore, kind of listen to the seniors.
Yeah, just sophomore, you're just like, just don't screw anything up.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, about a couple games in, I'd realized, even first game in, I realized I could hang and I could make plays. Just I needed to work on those rookie mistakes for sure.
Mm-hmm. What does kind of leadership look like, now, for a high school player when you're not playing games, you're really kind of limited in what you're able to do in the school. So what's leadership kind of look for you like during these times?
It's pretty tough. We got to emphasize like the positivity, like the staying positive. It's tough right now. Things just suck, honestly. Life's at home suck, families are struggling, and football has always been a time to let that go. So being a leader, it's putting that on your shoulders and telling those guys, like, these are 2 hours, this is 2.5 hours, just to focus on football and let that other stuff go. Where you could lead by having your guys follow COVID protocols or whatever it be, but really the leadership is having your guys stay positive and being that guy for them to look at, to be like, oh, we're okay, we're gonna make it through.
Mm-hmm. What do you kind of miss just most about football and playing with a team? I know some of my even decade later, some of my best memories are high school football. What are you just kind of missing most about the game right now?
Definitely Friday Night Lights. That's pretty broad, but there's a lot of things that go into that. The crowd, the band, the student section. It's a pretty good feeling to know all those people are there, like, cheering you on. That's an amazing feeling, as well as the brotherhood that you guys had worked all off season, and you guys were running, you guys in the heat, all of that finally comes in to pay off. Right now there's all this work, but we don't know if it's gonna, pay off in a way, like by getting that season. So me and the guys, we're missing, we want to play. We want to be able to have our work pay off.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. It's something I want for you guys too, because I mean, you work all off season. You guys have had a long off season with rules changing every other week, which can and can't do, and it's like to see you guys get back out there, especially Friday nights. Little snow going. That could be a fun thing out here in Bend.
Yeah, a lot of people remember say they remember their best memories are from high school football, and I'd already say some of my best memories are from high school football already, and I just want to be able to make the most of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully we get some good news in the next week or so.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, but I'm moving on. Gave you a bit of a little bit of homework, to take care of a couple days ago. Top 5 all-time quarterbacks.
Okay, I'm going pretty generic, I think.
All right.
Tom Brady's one, greatest of all time. It's early to call, but I go Patrick Mahomes, number 2.
Interesting.
Very interesting. It's early, but I believe he'll go behind Tom Brady. The pretty basic one, I'd say it's Joe Montana, 3.
Okay.
Then Peyton Manning, 4. His mind of the game, his knowledge of the game was insane. And then Aaron Rodgers, 5.
Your list
and I see you're a Packers guy.
Yeah, I hope that's a genuine number 5, and not just kissing up or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty similar list. Our 1s and 5s are the same.
Are they?
Tom Brady 1. There's just too much. An overwhelming 6 Super Bowls, so many regular season MVPs. He's 43 and playing another Super Bowl. It's just too much. So I'm with you there.
Go, man. Who did you have in the middle?
Number 2, I had Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Okay.
He probably has the best regular season resume of anyone, even better than Tom Brady. And I think he was someone who revolutionized the game from what he's able to do at the line of scrimmage and his preparation and whatnot. So I think he's 2. His postseason isn't as great, but he kind of makes up for it with the regular season. Did you have 3 Joe Montana? Okay, I had that one as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 4 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs. Was one of the, was his quarterback one of the great dynasties. So helped out a little bit that he had Jerry Rice, but still great.
Still, yeah.
Who'd you have 4 again?
I had Peyton Manning 4.
Peyton Manning. Okay, that's right. I have John Elway.
John Elway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he made it to a ton of Super Bowls. Didn't win until the end, but made it a lot, and was just kind of a transcendent talent who could throw it and run it. And then 5 I had Aaron Rodgers as well. So
similar.
Similar.
Very similar.
Patrick Mahomes, I don't disagree with you that he might get to that point, but why? Well, I'll say this first. He has the best start to a NFL career than anyone.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be in 2 Super Bowls, has 3 MVP worthy season and an actual MVP. Like no one else can touch that.
It's definitely early, but
yeah,
I think even with what he's already accomplished, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, yeah, he could be fairly average the rest of the way, but he still needs to have longevity. All of these 5 guys had 10, 15-year careers, which I think is impressive because football is not an easy sport to play for a long time. So
yeah.
So if he can keep that longevity, he might even go after might even contend with Brady, but
we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a little early to put him at 2, but I see where you're going, and I don't disagree with that. All right. Well, hey, Jakoby, that's all the questions I got for you, man. Really appreciate you taking the time and enjoyed doing this.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, we'll talk again soon, and good luck, with the 7-on-7 that's going on, and hopefully we'll talk to you in not too long about some Mountain View football.
For sure.
All right, have a good one. All right, now we bring on Alexander Emery, who recently got done playing in the Offense-Defense All-American Bowl down in Texas, inside AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys. So let's hear what Alexander has to say. All right, we're joined here with Alexander Emery, sophomore at Bend High. He football player, just got back from competing in the Offensive Defense All-American Bowl down in Texas in Jerry World. So you just kind of share a little bit about that. Alexander, how you doing today?
Doing good. How about you?
Can't complain, man. It's a nice day out. Sun's starting to be out a little bit more. I'm digging it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So, like I mentioned, you're just down in Jerry World, playing in this Offense Defense All-American Bowl. Tell me a little bit more about that. How'd you kind of get involved, and what was kind of that whole experience like this past week?
I kind of got involved with they sent me kind of like an application for it, and I filled it out. I wasn't really expecting much of it, and then I got the invite, and I thought it was really cool. I was kind of shocked, actually, and it was a really, really fun experience. I got to meet a bunch of people, got to go ball out in Dallas, and got to keep friendships that should last for a while.
Mm-hmm. So is it just kind of just pulling people from all around the country? How are these teams kind of made up? And
yeah,
whatnot?
It's basically just people from all around the country. It's not like made up like an East-West game. They tried to split it up evenly. That was kind of the goal. It was kind of like half and half. But it wasn't like there was a North-South versus East-West or something like that. And we got like my team, I only had one person from the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there anyone else from Oregon who was down there?
No, not that I knew. Not that I. Yeah.
Okay.
It was. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
So how did this week kind of work? What was kind of the daily schedule like? How did this whole thing kind of work?
So first day we got there, and then it was just kind of orientation, and then practice, like afternoon practice. And so we got there, they took my photo, they gave me this jersey and everything. Then they gave me a bunch of other little trinkets and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then we had practices, I think 3 days practices. No, it was either 2 or 3 days practices, and then we had the game. So we had just a few days to install the offense, but I think it worked out pretty well.
Mm-hmm. On the team that you ended up playing with, what was kind of the makeup? Is it all kind of people your kind of grade level? Is it where were all these guys from that were on your team, and how did you guys kind of able to kind of mold a team together in just a short amount of time?
So my team actually most of the kids were from Missouri and Colorado. I'd say like that was the main group of kids, and it was made up of freshmen and sophomores. And like the freshmen weren't like they weren't bad freshmen. They were like really, really solid freshmen that if they can definitely compete for varsity spot. And they were really, really good. I mean, everybody down there was very solid.
Mm-hmm. How do you kind of what's kind of the keys to kind of getting a functioning offense, kind of working together to work within those 3 days? What's kind of your role as a quarterback? How do you kind of make that happen?
So, our team, we had a couple people who canceled because of COVID, like that were going to go and cancel last minute because of COVID. And the kind of bummer about that is they were my linemen.
Mhm.
So we had a tight end as center, so I had no time to stay in the pocket. So I'd have to roll out like almost every play. But like how I got everything installed and stuff is I had to take a leadership mentality and then just make sure that everybody was doing their job and not really relaxing off. Because I mean, we only had a couple days to install it and perfect it and get it down.
And for those who don't know, this was full contact. You're in pads, which for you being in Oregon's, it's been what
400 days.
Yeah, a really long time since you've been able to do that. You shared a video of me with me of you taking a pretty nasty shot on a rollout. What was how did it feel to have the pads back on? And
it felt great, even though so on the very first play, it was a read option, and then I took it, and I did not have my helmet strapped up all the way. So on the tackle, my helmet got jammed up my nose, so that kind of hurt. But it felt great being back in pads. I was really, really excited, and the hits are not nearly as bad as you'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
Say that. It looks bad, but it doesn't hurt as bad as you'd expect.
They've been out a while. It's that first hit that kind of settles them down a little bit. Did that kind of have the same impact on you after that first hit?
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting, like I didn't know like really what to expect. So it really did settle me down a bunch. I was probably expecting it to hurt a lot more, and it didn't. I think it was probably because of the adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I settled down a lot after that.
Right now in Oregon, the big thing is kind of 7-on-7 football, and that's kind of what all you can really do in terms of like team football. In a sense, how was what's just the biggest difference between playing quarterback for a 7-on-7 team and for a tackle team?
Well, in this game, I was running for my life, so I think that had to do with it. Like, I only had time to really 3 pocket passes because of how fast the people were getting to me. Like, by the time I'd get the ball, like there'd be a dude in my face. So, I mean, that was a big part and big difference of 7-on-7 because you have 4 seconds from 7-on-7 by the time you snap it. Where here, I probably had half of a second to make a move and get out. So, I mean, and in 7-on-7, you're not really running unless you're blitzed, but that happens only like once a game. So I think that was kind of the big part, big difference.
So, obviously, with no, football yet this year, what did maybe you learn about yourself kind of as a football player? What were some of those, learning experiences that you were able to kind of, take away from this past weekend?
That I mean, I'm not sure, but running, I enjoy running. I actually enjoy making defenders miss and then making a throw. I mean, I'll really only have to run if I have to, like if there's a big open field, but I like making a defender miss and then setting up and throwing. And then I kind of actually really miss that. So that was kind of a big one.
Yeah. Not many blitzes or anything like that with 7-on-7.
Oh no.
So where do you kind of think, over this last year, where, what you're able to kind of do with football is, kind of limited. Where do you think you kind of made like the biggest strides that you were kind of maybe able to see this weekend? What were some of the things that kind of, benefited you during that time?
During the peak of my training time, I'd be throwing 8 days a week, or not 8 days a week, but like a week. It's like twice a day and stuff. And I think that I really saw how much that helped, because from a year ago to where I am now is just a crazy difference. Like when it came to my ball flight, my accuracy, my trajectory, and throwing on the run, I would see like a huge difference. And even my speed, like I've gotten so much faster than I used to be. So I mean, it was really nice to kind of see that unfold out against some top competition.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I want to chat with you a little bit about Lines for Life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I saw that you know that's something that you work with. You know, for people who don't know what it is, could you kind of explain what that work is? And
Yeah, it's a teen-to-teen confidential crisis line.
mm-hmm.
And basically what we do is you can call, text, chat, or email us. And we are here to help you with any crisis, basically, any mental health crises. Like if you're not, even if you're having a bad day, you can kind of call us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mainly for people who are kind of struggling, especially with quarantine right now, and that has a huge effect on people's mental health. So, I mean, it's kind of a great place to call, and then you can talk to us about your issues, and we're here to listen.
Mm-hmm. How'd you kind of get involved with that?
It's like a year ago, and I mean, I thought it was a really neat opportunity to go help other people, and I enjoy helping other people. So I mean, it was 60 hours of training before you could actually hop on the lines and help people.
Mm-hmm.
I did that over not this past winter break, but the winter break before. So I have a year under my belt now.
Mm-hmm. What especially now, why do you kind of think that this is kind of important work, especially for people in teen or in the kind of teenage group, which are definitely going through a different year, and one with definitely kind of more struggles than maybe in years past.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important work because, I mean, some people don't have anybody to talk to. And I mean, this is kind of a shout out to bring sports back, but sports is kind of what some kids kind of live for. Mm-hmm. I mean, sports is a huge part of, I mean, my everyday being. I love sports. I mean, that's a big part of me. And I'm sure that it hurts a bunch of other kids not being able to play and not having stuff to do. Because, I mean, when you're seeing the same four walls for, 12 months now, then I mean, you kind of go crazy. Even if you have like a bunch of friends, you might not be able to see them. So, I mean, this is a great place to call and then just kind of bring things back down.
And like, what kind of, what is this type of work, done for you, as someone who is still a teen and, living through these times?
The football, I think. And I'll say that because it makes me a lot calmer. Like before, I'd be like in the, oh no, all hyped up type of mode, not being able to think. But now after this, I mean, I'm calm. And then I think that everything just kind of slows down because you have to make quick, rational decisions in this, like what you're going to say. And if you say the wrong thing, I mean, things can go bad,
Mm-hmm.
very, especially on this. And it's like if you make the wrong move in football, things can go bad very quickly. So it's just kind of calming down, and then it puts things into perspective.
Awesome. And then, a couple days ago, I gave you a little piece of homework. We got the Super Bowl coming up, and where we had a lot of kind of great quarterbacks playing, and so I wanted to hear your top 5 all-time quarterbacks.
So when you think about a top quarterback, you think of somebody who has revolutionized the game or somebody who has won the most, because the ideal goal of football is to win.
Okay.
So number 1 has to be Tom Brady. I mean, there's no debate on that. And then Peyton Manning's probably number 2. Then I go Joe Montana for number 3, just because they're winning. And then you have to go with people who revolutionize the game. So Sammy Baugh, I don't know if you remember him, but 30s.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, I think that he was number 4 because he kind of revolutionized the forward pass. And then number 5, I think Patrick Mahomes. And the reason why I say that is because he's revolutionized kind of the improviser type of a quarterback. I would say him and Russell Wilson, actually, because both of them have kind of revolutionized that improviser type quarterback, and it kind of got rid of the pocket passer type style. Mm-hmm. And the more athletic type of quarterback.
Well, I'll share mine as well. And my top three are the exact same as yours. Tom Brady, he has, basically two Hall of Fame careers in one. You have the regular season excellence, multiple MVPs, all the winning, all the division titles, and then 6 going on potentially 7 Super Bowls is just nuts. His postseason stats just blow everyone else's away. And then my second is also Peyton Manning. I think he revolutionized the game from a schematic standpoint of what quarterbacks kind of able to do at the line of scrimmage and audibling and all that. And then he has just like the most MVPs, just a stellar regular season resume that is better than anyone's. I feel. Joe Montana 3. I mean, he's 4 for 4 Super Bowls with 3 Super Bowl MVPs. That's great. Sammy Baugh, I agree with you that he revolutionized the forward pass and kind of ushered that into the NFL, but don't know if I can put him in at number 4. I have John Elway.
John Elway, that's
John Elway.
In my top 10.
Yeah, and I think I'd put Sammy Baugh in my top 10. Maybe not top 5. Well, definitely not top 5. And then I think Patrick Mahomes is someone who will, his first 3 years are better than anyone's ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going 2 Super Bowls, 3, one regular season MVP, 2 more top 2 finishes. I don't think he's going to win that one. So, or the one this year, but still he's had 3 MVP worthy seasons. So I actually have Aaron Rodgers as my 5th.
Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I see the Green Bay banner in the back.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, because Aaron Rodgers, I think is number 5, and that's assuming he wins the MVP this year. That's 3 MVP awards, a touchdown interception ratio that is
it's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
He's also revolutionized the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put Russ up there yet. Like I'm a big fan of Russell Wilson, but
I'm a Seahawks.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
That's a solid list. I think Patrick Mahomes had the best start, and he could easily jump into top 5 in a couple of years. The one thing that he doesn't have is just kind of like that sustained, longevity. And I think longevity does have to matter in some cases, but he's making one heck of a case.
Yeah, it truly is.
Yeah. 3 years into his playing career, which is nuts. He's might be the most fun quarterback to watch for sure.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that.
So final thoughts from you. When kind of going off kind of what we just kind of talked about with great all-time quarterbacks. What do you think is just kind of the necessary traits needed to be a great quarterback?
Necessary traits to be a great quarterback. I mean, you have to be able to do a quick release. I would say, like, take 3 steps and then get the ball out quick, because then the defense doesn't have time to adjust. And then I would say being able to read a defense like a book. That'd be a big part of Peyton Manning being able to read. And then nowadays, I would say that you have to be fast, like able to avoid the rush and stuff, because I think that that's a big part of the game, is being able to extend the play and confusing the defense when the play breaks down. And then I would say being able to fit it into tight areas. I'd say that big arm I think that you have to be able to throw the ball over 50 yards, but you don't have to be able to throw it 90 yards or something. Because I think that people look too far into that. when you're talking about a great quarterback, because how many times a game are you going to throw a deep go route? And how many times of that is it going to be completed? Oh, and accuracy is probably the biggest piece, I'd say, besides for reading a defense. Those two are
Okay. What do you think right now your best strengths are as a sophomore in high school and being a quarterback?
Being able to avoid the rush. I'd say accuracy. Probably, avoiding the rush, accuracy, and being able to fit the ball into like tight holes. So like a strong throw power. I would say I'm getting there on reading the defense. I'm not quite there yet. I'll say that. I mean, always get better at reading a defense. So that's kind of what it is. And quick releases, I hold on the ball sometimes a little bit too long. Then that kind of forces me to run. But I'm working on getting that ball out quicker and just trusting my receivers.
All righty. Well, Alexander, that's all the questions I got for you, man. Really appreciate you taking time, and good luck. In that next couple of weeks. With your training and whatnot. And we'll talk again soon.
Thank you. Yeah. See you then.